Good morning and welcome to Story Time. This week we're going to talk about apples. Apples are so delicious. They're one of my favorite fruits and you can find them all over in September. And they come in lots of colors. You can get green apples and yellow apples and red apples. And sometimes they're a mix of red and green and they're really fun to eat. So our first story is Apple Picking Day by Candace Ransom. Have you ever gone to an orchard to pick apples? It's one of my favorite things to do in the fall. In the morning, we leave town, drive past woods all golden brown. Over hilltops, big and small, I see apples. Hello, fall. Tractor takes us to the trees. I spot ladders in the leaves. Run down this row, follow me. Lots of apples on that tree. I pick high, you pick low. In our basket, apples go. Hungry blue jay flaps and hops. Jabs a bad one, down it drops. Share an apple. Hey, my turn. Crunch, crunch, munch. Yuck, a worm. See that apple way up there? On my tiptoes, I grab air. I try again. Down come two. One for me and one for you. Boy in that tree makes a face. Quick, pick faster, start a race. Tractor pulls us to the shed. We sort apples, green and red. Apple cider, apple pie, apple donuts, hot and fried. Fun day over, we love fall. Yummy apples, best of all. And our next story is Apple of Your Eye, and this is a nonfiction story. And it is written by Alan Fuller. What a great snack an apple makes. What a great dessert to round out a meal. What is that? It's apple pie. Apples are so nice and crisp when you bite into them. So tasty and juicy. And think of all the good things to eat that are made from apples. Apple pie, apple sauce, apple butter, apple jelly. Good things to drink too. Apple juice and apple cider. We like apples so much that we call a well-loved person the apple of our eye. Apple trees grow in many parts of the world. They need rich soil, a certain amount of rainfall, and weather that isn't too hot or too cold. Some apples can be picked during the summer, but most of them are harvested in the fall. If apples are stored in cool places, they will keep fresh for a long time. That means you can enjoy apples all year round. If you plant a seed from an apple tree will grow, but you can't be sure that it will bear the kind of apples you want. So farmers have a different way of growing apple trees. Grafting. The farmer cuts a bud from the tree that produces good apples. Then he puts it into a cut in the trunk of another apple tree already rooted in the ground. He wraps the bud to the tree with tape. The new tree grows from the old tree trunks and roots. After about 3 years, this grafted tree begins to bear apples. Good apples. There are many different kinds of apples. Crab apples are small and sour, yet good tasting jellies are made from them. The variety of apples we eat have names, like Jonathan, McIntosh, Winesnap, Granny Smith, Rome Beauty. The ones you probably eat the most often are called Red Delicious and Golden Delicious. With names like those, they sound as good as they taste. And on the back, this book has words you might know. So apples, Red Delicious, Golden Delicious, apple juice, apple pie, crab apples, Jonathan apples, apple trees, and grafting. So what is your favorite kind of apple? Can you tell a friend or a parent you're sitting with? My favorite kind of apple is the great big juicy honey gold apples. The next story is called 10 Apples on Top by Theo Lessig. And this is a silly, silly story. One apple up on top. Where is it at? 2 apples up on top. Do you want 2 apples on your head? Look, I can do it too. Look, see, I can do 3. 3, 3. I see. You can do 3, but I can do more. You have 3, but I have 4. Look, see now, I can hop with 4 apples up on top. And I can hop up on a tree with 4 apples up on me. Look here, you two. See here, you two. I can get 5 on top. Can you? I am so good I will not stop. 5, now 6, now 7 on top. 7 apples up on top. I am so good they will not drop. 5, 6, 7. Fun, fun, fun. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But see, we are as good as you. Look, now we have 7 too. And now see here, 8. 8 on top, 8 apples up, not 1 will drop. 8, 8, and we can skate. Look now, we can skate with 8. But I can do 9 and hop and drink. You cannot do this, I think. We can do it too. See here, we are as good as you. We all are very good, I think. With 9, we all can hop and drink. 9 is very good, but then, come on, and we will make it 10. Look, 10 apples up on top. We are not going to let them drop. Look out! Look out! I see a mop. I will make the apples fall. Get out, you, one and all. Come on, come down this hall. We must not let our apples fall. Out of our way, we cannot stop. We cannot let our apples drop. This is not good. What will we do? They want to get our apples too. They will get them if we let them. Come, we cannot let them get them. Look out, the mop, the mop, the mop. You cannot stop our apple fun. Our apples will not drop, not one. Come on, come all. We have to make the apples fall. They must not get our apples down. Come on, get out of town. Apples up on top. All of this must stop. Now all our fun is going to stop. Our apples all are going to drop. What is in this big cart? It's full of apples. Oh my. Look, 10 apples on us all. What fun. We will not let them fall. And that is the end of that. Do you think you could put 10 apples on top of your head and keep them there? I don't think I could. That would be very tricky. But apples do fall sometimes. And I have this nice little apple tree with 2 smiling apples on there. They're so happy to be up in the tree. So way up high in the apple tree, 2 little apples smiled at me. I shook the tree as hard as I could, and down came the apples. Good. Put their tree back together here. Okay, and this one is called Our Apple Tree. Whoops. And this talks about the 4 seasons. So as you're reading or listening to the story, try to figure out what season is happening in the story. Is it winter or spring or summer or fall? All winter long, our apple tree rests, but not everyone is asleep. Nuthatches look for little bugs under the tree's bark. Pheasants and blackbirds eat last year's apples still laying frozen on the ground. When spring comes, our apple tree wakes up. Pink buds and white blossoms show that it is ready to make apples again. Bees come to visit, flying from blossom to blossom. They visit every apple tree around for miles. Every day, the bees gather sweet nectar and dusty pollen. Every night, they go home to make honey and feed their babies. Wherever the bees go, they take some pollen and leave some pollen behind. And soon the blossoms begin to turn into the tiniest apples, all soft and downy. In the warm sun, the apples grow bigger and bigger. Our apple tree is hard at work. All summer long, all over the world, other apple trees are growing apples too. Some apples are golden, some are pink, some have stripes, some blush. Every apple has a name of its own. This is called delicious. Doesn't it look delicious? Once you start eating an apple, it's hard to stop. Crunch, crunch, you're at the core, the seeds nestled inside. Every seed could be an apple tree like ours someday. The apples are still growing and ripening on our apple tree, and apple trees everywhere. But soon, very soon, it will be time to make apple art, and applesauce, and apple pie. We could even have an apple party for all our friends. Everyone likes apples. It's autumn. Our apple tree has a wonderful gift for us. The apples are ripe. We pick some and eat some and store some away. As soon as the last apple is safe inside, cold winds begin to blow. The leaves fall from our tired apple tree. And then it's time to rest again and dream of next year's apples. I am going to go back and find a picture here because I want to show you something that's really neat. So if you get a grown-up's help, you can cut an apple a special way and you can get a star inside of your apple. So if you look right here, if you cut an apple in half going this way, you'll get just a normal circular apple core in the middle. But if you turn the apple on its side and cut it going that way, you will find a star shape in the middle of your apple. So you can try that at home with a grown-up's help. This one is called The Apple Pie Tree by Zoe Hall, illustrated by Sherry Halpern. Do you think apple pies grow in a tree? That'd be pretty neat if they did. My sister and I have a tree that grows the very best part of apple pie. Can you guess what it is? Apples. Every year we watch our apple tree grow. In winter, our apple tree is brown and bare. But in spring, leaves grow on every branch. Look, 2 robins are building a nest in our tree. Tiny pink flower buds appear in the branches. The robins chirp loudly, guarding their eggs. And robins' eggs are blue. Just then, when the flower buds open, baby robins peek through the eggshells. Now our tree is covered with blossoms, and the baby robins begin to grow feathers. When breezes blow, the petals fall to the ground. Mama and Papa Robin teach their little birds to fly. Some days it rains and the wind blows hard, but our apple tree is strong and the robins are safe in the branches. Small green apples grow where the blossoms used to be. Soon it is summer. The apples get bigger and bigger. The little robins have grown up, but they visit every day. The branches bend down low. They are covered with big round apples. And look who's tasting the apples. Now it is autumn. The apples are red and ready to be picked. We fill our baskets to the brim. Mom and Dad help us peel the apples, cut them up, and pile them into a pie shell. Then we sprinkle cinnamon and sugar over the top. Mom puts the pan in the oven. At last, the pie is cooked and ready to be eaten. Our tree has grown an apple pie. It smells so good. And it tastes delicious. There's nothing as good as an apple pie you grew yourself. And on the back of this, it talks about the different parts of the apple tree. This one is called Apples and Pumpkins by Anne Rockwell. When red and yellow leaves are on the trees, we go to the Comstock farm to pick apples and pumpkins. Mr. Comstock gives us a bushel basket to put our apples in. Geese and chickens and a big fat turkey walk with us on our way to the orchard where the apples grow. My father picks apples. My mother does too. I climb into a little apple tree and pick the reddest apples of all. When our basket is full of red, shiny apples, we go to the field where the pumpkins grow. I look and look until I find the best pumpkin of them all. My father cuts it from the vine. I carry it back to the car. At home, we carve a jack-o'-lantern face on our big orange pumpkin. We put a candle inside and light it. Now our pumpkin looks scary and funny too. And Halloween is coming up next month. So on Halloween night, we put our pumpkin on the doorstep. My mother gives away lots of red and shiny apples for trick or treat. Well, I go trick or treating up and down our street. And our very last story is about apple pie again. Have you ever just had apple pie for dinner? Well, this story is about how one person got an apple pie for dinner, but she had to do a lot of work to get it. One day, old Granny Smith wanted an apple pie for dinner. She looked around her cozy kitchen. She had flour and butter. She had sugar and spices. But there was one thing she didn't have. She didn't have any apples. Granny Smith had plums, lots of plums, a tree full of purple plums. But you can't make apple pie from plums. I might find someone who has apples but needs plums, Granny thought, so she filled a big basket with plums from her tree. Then she put on her bonnet, she pulled on her shawl, and off she set. Soon Granny met some chickens and a goose in the road. Cluck, cluck, honk, honk, the noisy birds squawked. A young woman was feeding them. I have some plums, Granny said to the woman, but I need some apples. Do you have any apples? Oh, my family likes plum jam the best, the woman said, but all I have are feathers. Will you take feathers for your plums? Yes, said kind old Granny, if the plums will make your family happy. And she traded her purple plums for a bag of fluffy feathers. Thank you, said the woman. Granny smiled and continued on her way. Soon Granny came to a beautiful garden where she heard a girl and a boy arguing. Cotton, yelled the girl. Straw, shouted the boy. May I help? asked Granny. Mama's making a pillow. I think cotton is the best stuffing. My brother thinks straw is the best, said the girl. Feathers make the best stuffing, said Granny. They are softer than cotton and straw. Here." Granny reached into her basket. She gave the bag of fluffy feathers to the children. Thank you," they said. "I am looking for apples," Granny said. "Do you have any?" "We don't have any apples," said the two children, "but there are some sweet-smelling flowers." Granny smiled and continued on her way. Soon Granny met a young prince, dressed in his finest clothes. He was going to see his lady love, but he looked sad. "May I help you?" asked Granny. "I forgot the ring for my lady. It's too late to turn back, so I have no gift for her," said the prince. "Here's a gift for her," said Granny. Then she handed the prince sweet-smelling flowers. Thank you," he said. "I am looking for apples," said Granny. "Do you have any?" "I don't have apples," said the prince, "but here's a gift for you." He gave Granny a gold coin from his pocket. Granny smiled and continued on her way. Soon she came to the yard where a mother and her children were crying. "What's the matter?" Granny asked. "We're hungry," said the mother. "We have no money for food." "Take this," said Granny, and she gave the mother the gold coin. "Use it to buy food." Thank you," said the mother. "I'm looking for apples," Granny said. "Do you know where I might find some?" "We don't have any apples," said the children, "but we have pups that need good homes." Granny put a small brown dog in her basket. She smiled and continued on her way. Soon Granny came to a house where she saw an old man sitting on a bench. He looked unhappy. "I'm lonely," he cried. "You need a dog to keep you company," Granny said. She lifted the puppy from her basket. Woof, woof! The puppy ran to the man and jumped in his lap. Thank you," said the old man. "I'm looking for apples," Granny said. "Do you have any?" "Yes," said the old man. "I grow them in my orchard." And he took her to some apple trees. Thank you," said Granny. And she filled her basket with shiny apples. Granny smiled and set off for home. On her way, she invited everyone she had met to follow her. In the kitchen, they all worked together to bake a pie. They peeled and sliced apples. They added some spices. They rolled out the dough and filled the crust. Then Granny popped the pie into the oven. Soon the pie was done. The crust was golden brown. The juices bubbled. The warm smell of cinnamon filled the kitchen. Everyone sat down and yum, yum, what a delicious pie. Granny looked around the table and smiled. "If you try and try," Granny said to herself, "you can always have apple pie for dinner." And together they ate every last crumb. And in the back is Granny's apple pie recipe. So you can check this one out and then try Granny's apple pie all by yourself. Well, I hope you enjoyed our story time today, all about apples and apple trees and apple pie. So we will see you next week with a new story time theme. Bye.